Yo, what is poppin', guys? We are back on Pokemon Showdown today for NPL Season 4, Week 1. We are facing Davion, aka NoivernNation, and his Nevada Noiverns, one of our three divisional opponents that we all take on in Week 1, 2, and 3, and again later in the season, the week like 11, 12, 10, 11, and 12, or something like that. So, very important matchups because, like, obviously, if you win your division, you're basically in the playoffs, which is hype, and yeah, like we're trying to get off to a nice start. The last three leagues I played in the ITL season 5, PMC Orange League, and NPL season 3. All of these leagues I started with 2 losses, and I definitely don't want to do it again. Um, I put up a team builder yesterday where I went over the strat that I have in mind for this for this week. Sorry, and yeah, like if you're interested in my thought process about that, go and check that out. Definitely a pretty cool team. I won't go over it in detail now, but like I will cover it at least like shortly. Like it's a bulky Terglow Manaphy with the ICMZ, which actually was there for the Among Us, which for whatever reason he didn't bring. Um, I bring a Superior with the Expert Belt, Leaf Storm, Knockoff, HP Ground, and Synthesis. Maybe I should have gone with Giga Drain over Synthesis, but definitely a very solid Mon versus squad as you see, like it absolutely devours his entire team. um, Specs Greninja with Spikes, U-Turn, Dark Pulse, Hydro Pump. Um, Sword Stance, bulky Charizard X with Roost, Dragon Claw, and Flare Blitz. Registeel with Earthquake Counter, Choppleberry, obviously, to catch something like the Lucario off guard, but I think he didn't bring it either. Stealth Rock, which I probably won't be able to get up because of Mega Sableye and Espeon. And Safeguard as my last move because I don't want anything on my team to get toxic, and if I get toxic, I have to play around with that, so it's kind of dumb. Shadi Berry, Togekiss, Wish Pass, Wish Protect, Air Slash, and Dazzling Beam. Pretty self-explanatory. Said it just like has a great matchup versus Stall, and my opponent had a very stally squad. He didn't bring too much stall this time. Only fat mons he really brought with a Mega Sableye to Blastoise, and I hope I can capitalize on that, so, like on the more offensive team, which can't keep up with my offense, I'm pretty sure. So let's hop right into it. Game plan basically was to weaken Superior, not weaken Superior, weaken Magearna to a point where Superior can sweep. Um, that was basically the plan. I could also easily sweep with Greninja if I like weaken the Blastoise and the Magearna, and just like click the Specs, Hydro Pump, and go from there. Manaphy will function as a very nice wall break. I could also potentially clean up late game, and yeah, like I can play pretty recklessly with my Zard because it doesn't like match up too great versus squad. Yes, it's cool versus Sableye, but if it's Scarf Tyrant that outspeeds me and will Oko me, Dougie can trap me, and Magearna if it specs can do quite a fuck ton of damage to me. Um, only only thing I really need the Zard for is to potentially revenge kill Magearna, but besides that I should be fine. So I can play kind of recklessly with my Zardex this week. So I decided to lead right off with it because I want to catch a potential Mega Sableye lead here with my Charizard. I had my opponent not brought the Espeon, I would have led with the Registeel to guaranteed get up my Stealth Rocks, but now with the Espeon around, I like could never risk setting up my rocks. So I lead off with Zard, Aseel leads off with Magearna, which is great for me. I know there's no way he's staying in and wants to take a Flare Blitz, so I decide to SD for dominance turn 1 and see what his initial switching is. He goes into his Blastoise. I can just easily sort it up. Had he gone for into the Duckshire here, that would have been like kind of bad for me because then like my Zard would have been trapped and I would have just like gotten off one Dragon Claw and then go from there. But he went into the Blasters, which means I can fire off a big Dragon Claw here on the thing, so I do 60% to him, which reveals to me that he is a physically defensive variant. He rolls me out into Greninja, and that is like pretty solid for me. Like I could get up a Spike here, which would be really nice, but I felt like it wouldn't make too much sense, especially if he decides to stay in, and like then I could just rapid spin on next turn because I would be locked into spikes. I didn't feel like he would be staying in though because like X with the Grass Knot or Specs or Life of Dark Pulse would just knock out his Blasters here, and like if he gets like some lefty spec, he could potentially take another plus to hit from the Charizard. It could potentially switch in to a non-energy ball mana feed, could switch into Togekiss and Registeel fairly well, so it definitely has still some usage. So I decided to go for the U-turn and try to keep up the momentum and like go from there instead of clicking Dark Pulse, because if I click Dark Pulse and my opponent goes into Magiana, that's just losing play for me, gets the initiative back and can potentially trap my Registeel on like if he goes for a Volt Switch, which would be a very free play after he like calcs and knows that I'm a spec set. So I decided to go for the U-turn because I don't want to give him any momentum. But my opponent actually, as you will see, decides to stay in on this turn, which I find pretty interesting. I don't think Second Blastoise potentially was the play here. But I go into my Superior here as he goes for the Toxic. So I know that this Blastoise has like Scald, definitely Toxic, Raw, and probably Rapid Spin. Another set wouldn't make sense. So if I get a Safeguard up, it's actually guaranteed setup for my mana feed. Like, yes, it could Raw, but I can just OHKO with the Energy Ball and then like set up on whatever else wants to come in. So that's kind of lit. But my girl Go Yubari here gets poisoned. Isn't too big of a deal because like it's still like just needs 3 or 4 hits to absolutely destroy his entire team, to like rip through his wall core and pave the way for a Zard or a Manaphy sweep or even the Greninja sweep, obviously. So yeah, felt like looking at his team, he just has no switch in for Magiana unless he's an AV variant of Magiana for Superior, unless he's an AV variant of Magiana. So instead of like going for the Leaf Storm here, I decided to go for the knockoff, trying to like catch the Magiana and potentially like just get rid of the Assault Vest, or like even if it's a spec set, it would be nice to get rid of it and like just go from there. I don't really need to go for a potential sweep on turn 3, but obviously like Leaf Storm would have been a very fine play if he goes into anything else or just stays in with the Blaster. Nonetheless, I click knockoff as my opponent makes a play I don't really agree with, and that is going hard into Sableye. Sableye, even if it's max specially defensive, cannot take a Leaf Storm plus a +2 Leaf Storm. He can't. Like, there's no way he takes it well. We've done like up to 45% to a regular Sableye, and then obviously a +2 Leaf Storm would have just knocked out Mega Sableye on the turn and Mega Evolves. And then after that, like even if he decides to switch out, even if he goes into Mag, +2 Leaf Storm plus +4 HP Ground guaranteed knocks it out. So he potentially, like, had I gone for the Leaf Storm, he was basically guaranteed to lose this game already on turn 4. So I don't really agree with that play, but kind of worked out for him, I guess. So I go for the knockoff, don't do any damage, and yeah, that's a losing turn for me. I have to switch out here because Superior, like, I don't want the toxic damage to rack up because like obviously I still needed to dent his team or like just sweep in the late game. So I got into my Zard. I know I can take a knockoff, even if foul play wouldn't 2KO me. I can like potentially just go for the Flare Blitz. Goes for the knock, does absolutely jack shit as you see. And I decided to go for a Flare Blitz, trying to keep the Sableye as low as possible and see like engage the damage that like I do with the Flare Blitz. I do roughly 50%, so it's definitely a physically defensive Sableye, and like it's nice to keep it low. Like you can't like just spam recover here, that would be a losing play for him. Goes for the foul play, probably predicting me to set up. It does 28%, so my bulk on that definitely is nice. On the next time, my opponent makes a very smart play, goes hard into Dougie, which is guaranteed to be sashed by the way he brought it in, because like he can't bring a Scarf or Bandit Dougie in on a potential attack, as I just roost up. I felt like the Duckshire play was very obvious in case he was a Sash variant, but like what I should have done was like just doubling out into Superior or Greninja, knowing that my opponent like should not stay in with his Sableye, because like losing Sableye on turn 6 would be very redundant when he still has like a sack and blasters left and the potential Dougie to trap me. Like the Dougie play was fairly obvious, but I didn't capitalize on that and just went for the roost. So on this next turn, I just fire off a Dragon Claw, I can't switch out. As he crits me with the Earthquake, doesn't matter because it's still a 2-hit KO, and he obviously outspeeds me. I get him down to his Sash, which is nice, and yeah, he can like just kill me with the Earthquake. But that's fine, I don't really need my Zard. As I said, it's just annoying that I can't revenge the Magiana with anything right now. I still have to like keep my Reggie still healthy to get the needed damage off on the Mag here, but yeah, that's fine. So I go into my Greninja, and here I have 2 plays basically. I could just fire off a U-turn, get the initiative, and kill this Ducktail if it stays in, or like get the initiative if he switches out. Or I could just go for the Hydro Pump, and if my opponent makes the makes the play and goes hard into Magiana on the Hydro Pump. I could potentially 2 KO it unless it's an AV set. So I decide like he probably wants to keep his Dactrio, I figured, because like it could still trap the register and get a big hit off on it, especially if it's an adamant set, for example, like that. An Earthquake would do up to like 70% or 65%, which would be quite a fuck ton, and then like, would pave the way for a potential Magiana sweep in the late game. So I felt like he would probably try to preserve his Dougie and switch out into his Blastoise, which is probably his best sack here. Going Magiana would be like a very would be just a losing play. If I go for Hydro Pump and he goes Magiana, he gets 2 KO'd. Then I have to hit two Hydro Pumps on the Blastoise. All he can do is Toxic me, and then I have 4 Hydro Pumps left, and everything on his team is O-code. Like besides Blastoise and Magiana, who are 2 KOs, everything is O-code by Specs Hydro Pump. So if I connect 8 Hydro Pumps from here on out, should he switch to Magiana, I win the game. So I felt like U-turn was my safest play, as it kills Dactrio guaranteed and gives me initiative should he go into Blastoise and then allow Superior a clean sweep, or like a clean like it would allow Superior to like dent his team quite a lot for a more safer Greninja sweep, because like hitting 8 Hydro Pumps is not like the way to go, I would say. But still, like if my opponent goes into Magiana, I would consider that like kind of a choke, because like that's definitely his win condition as of now. So let's see what he does. He actually withdraws and goes into Magiana. Very, very ballsy play that like could have turned out pretty badly for my opponent, but just like the knockoff play, it kind of worked out for my like nothing I can do about that. But I go into my register and know I can take any one hit, even like a Specs or a Sphere, and like I can just fire off an Earthquake here on the next turn. I don't want to go for rocks in case my opponent wants to go into the Sableye, which makes sense. But he goes into Dactrio trying to trap me on my rocks, and yeah, I can like just kill it with the Earthquake. There was like no way I was allowing him to trap me. Like that wasn't like a good play on my end. So yeah, Dactrio is gone, which is nice. Can't trap my Registry right now, and I can potentially keep my Registry healthy with some nice wish passing from Togekiss. So he goes into Sableye. Can't knock out the Sableye obviously with the Earthquake, so I have to switch out. I go into my Togekiss, expecting to recover up instead of knocking. I still would like to keep my Shardy Berry in case the it comes down to Togekiss versus a potential Scarf Tyrantrum. So I go for the Wish here, knowing that he would probably switch out. Goes into Magiana, which is fine. Very solid play. Has the free Volt Switch again, but I can just Wish Pass into my Registeel and go from there. Like it could be like if he like just goes into Sableye all the time, could be rinse repeat the process for like quite a while, unless I like get in my Greninja or Manaphy or something on the Sableye, which I probably would have done after like going to Togekiss to Wish up again. But yeah. Yeah, like he goes hard into Blastoise on my Registry, which is fine. Like obviously I can't touch it, but I want to like to set up a safeguard just in case I decide to like set up with Manaphy in 1 or 2 turns, and then like I don't want to get toxic obviously. So he scalds me, doesn't get to burn fortunately, as I set up the safeguard. Now he can't burn it all with the with the Scald, which is nice. And now I decide to switch out into my Superior, because I know like that he has Rapid Spin, Scald, Toxic, and Ron can't really touch me. He goes into his Esper, which is one of the few moves that can actually take 1 Leaf Storm from the range they're at right now. And I will just fire off the Leaf Storm now. If, like he told me after the game he was a screen set, and if we got a light screen, could have like I had to play around that, but I could have easily like burned out those turns with like wish passing and shit like that. So it wasn't really too big of a deal. But I fire off a Leaf Storm now here instead of a knockoff, as my opponent like now makes the exact same play as earlier, goes hard into Sailor, and now we'll see that this is not a switch in. 46% from an unboosted Leaf Storm, so like this regular Sailor would have taken like 55 to 60 or something. So that's never a switch, and now I'm in a very, very good spot. Like if he stays in, I'm at a +4 and kill the Magiana with the +4 HP ground. If he switches out into Magiana, I have the easy sweep, obviously, and like have the damage off on Magiana that I need for Manaphy or Greninja to sweep. So yeah, I can just spam Leaf Storm and knock out the Sableye, which is nice. If I want, I could potentially get up rocks later in the game. And now he has to choose another sack, because Magiana now drops to a +4 HP ground. Goes into Espeon, I knock that out with the Leaf Storm. Thankfully I connect on all my Leaf Storms here today. And now I'm at +6, which is nice. I have Sadly, I'm at 24% and not at 25, so I only have one turn left of attacking something. I just fire off a Leaf Storm because like even if he decides to make a play and like pivot around, like showing the blast and then go hard into Magina, Specs Magina, which I like know it is, would have taken like 70% or 75% from a +6 Leaf Storm anyway, so it wasn't like a good play to pivot around on it. Had he like, after I killed the Sailor, had he brought in like the Tyrantrum pretty quickly, I would have probably switched out my Superior, thinking it was a Scarf set, but he contemplated quite a while what mon he wanted to sack after like I killed the Sailor. So I knew in this late game, I knew that this Tyrantrum was probably not a Scarf variant, like very more likely what's called a Bandit or a DD set. I probably think it was DD because like my boy Davion loves his setup on his mon, so definitely a possibility there. So my girl Superior goes down, and I decide to go into my Greninja because like Registeel would just be a losing play, as like Magiana could just fire off a big hit and Volt Switch out, and then like potentially like crit me with Aura Switch through my Shuttle Barrier or something if it's suspected that could have a chance to knock me out. I would give the Tyrantrum a free setup with Registeel. Yes, I would do like 55% or 60% with the Earthquake, but Tyrantrum, depending on the set, like could be a problem if it's like DD and then like Life Orb or something. Then actually had a chance to like knock out my entire team, so I didn't want to risk that. And Greninja, like if he goes Tyrantrum, he is guaranteed to lose a mon once I should I hit all my Hydros. Like if he's Tyrantrum, I click Hydro Pump either on a switch, Magina is 2 KO'd, or I click Hydro Pump on Tyrantrum, and that is going down guaranteed. Like even max HP Tyrantrum can't take a Specs Hydro Pump from Greninja. That's pretty crazy, but that's how it is. Togekiss was never the play, obviously, as it gives like a Roselli Berry set, a free setup, which I don't really expect, but it just allows Magina to come in for free, and then he like can easily vote without get chip off on my Registeel and shit like that. Manaphy wasn't the play because Manaphy can't beat the Magina 1v1 unless I'm like at +6, because I'm not really invested in special attack. So Greninja obviously always was the play, and I just have to click Hydro Pump here. Thankfully I connect. Like if he gets up a DD here, that would have been pretty rough, but I still had Registeel at a solid amount of health, I would say, that could potentially like take on this Tyrantrum, unless it was like an Earthquake variant, which it definitely could have been. But like Head Smash, Dragon Claw is basically enough versus my entire team. I don't know if he like really needed any more coverage, but like yeah, obviously like versus Registeel it's nice, but he had a lot of ways to deal with Registeel, so I wasn't sure if he like would pack the Earthquake, because like he also had the Ductile to trap me. For example, like obviously Specs Aura Sphere had to be on the Magiana, and then like some stuff that like just shuts down Registeel. Registeel just didn't have a very solid matchup versus my opponent at all, so I don't know if he actually prepped for it, but definitely would have made sense if he had like the Earthquake. But as you see, I connect with the Hydro Pump. Magiana comes in, I just want to go for the Hydro again to put it in range. I get 63% off, so as you see, like had he gone hard into my Hydro earlier in the game, he probably would have lost right there. So now I can go into my Register. I know he's locked into Volt Switch. Can't knock me out because like I'm max HP and Reg is just fat. I go for the Earthquake. Can't knock him out sadly, but that is fine. My Manaphy can now come in and clean up the game with the nice Surf. So that is gonna be GG. It is Aki. Very interesting, very fun match versus a squad that I didn't really expect to come that way. Like yet, I think like bringing the Amoonguss Alomomola would have been like better than packing Blastoise plus Espeon, but I definitely see why he brought Blastoise, as it can face out Charizard and can potentially like Rapid Spin if I get up any variant of Hazard, because like I had a bunch of very solid toxic spikes that could have potentially gotten up a spike or so. But yeah, that's the game. GG to my opponent, obviously. Felt like I executed my game plan fairly well, even though I like made some losing plays with the knockoff on the incoming Sableye and the U-turn on the incoming Magiana, but I like tried to play it as safe as possible. There was no need to like go for a sweep too early, knowing that I still had a bunch of win cons in the back in form of Manaphy, Spectran, and obviously the Surf. And like I was able to wait for a moment where I can like could just dent his team with the with the Superior in order for something else to sweep. So yeah, that is the game this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next week we are facing my boy Trevor, aka Sheer Force, and his Long Island Goldax, which should be a very fun match. I definitely have a very tough matchup versus some of his mons, but I built a very fun squad, so it should be a hype match for sure. So I hope you guys are hyped for that. Leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed this match today, and I catch you in my next video. Thank you.